Hey, it's Ron McLean. Welcome to Hockey Talk on the Rock.
With Laura and Keith.
It's interesting.
So let's back up a second.
He played absolutely out of his mind.
It made no sense to me.
And now, here are your hosts.
All right, here we go. We are back doing a prolonged gap between our last Hockey Talk on the Rock. This is episode number 97. I'm still repping the Rock here on Salt Spring. Laura is now across the Atlantic, but we've done the Zoom before and we're just working out the time difference. So three people that watch us, thank you for bearing with us. Today's Sunday, January 22nd, right off the hop. One of the worst kept secrets in NHL hockey ever is Bruce Boudreau was going to get fired. This morning he got fired after an emotional ending to the game last night and an emotional press conference to follow up. Sucks. I couldn't wear a Canucks jersey for today.
I'm not wearing any jersey purposefully because I can't either. It's like an absolute joke.
It is frustrating. Like, you know, as I was saying to my friends, like, it's not, he shouldn't have been treated good because he's a good guy. He should have been treated good because organizations and businesses need to treat their employees with respect and dignity, and to just continue to trot him out there week after week. Like, well, he knows he's going to go. Like, he knew.
I mean, it was months, right? Like when Tocchet rumors started, then it was really bad. But he basically knew in November that he was done, and he said that yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, it's not about his character. It's about the organization. And the reason why this is such a big story in the hockey world right now is because it's never been done like this. You can look back at Vegas and how they handled things, and that was very poorly done too. But it's not even comparable.
No, it's not. I mean, what is the harm in firing him in November, asking Mike, yo, can you take the interim tag? We're still gonna look for a guy, or we can't get our guy yet. And just having the interim guy, at least everyone know, and they don't put Bruce through that, you know?
And the other thing too, okay, there's two things here. So the first one is if you knew that you wanted to hire Rick Tocchet, which I presumably would assume that Alvin and Rutherford, whoever's really in charge, would have known pretty early since they have a history with him from Pittsburgh. They probably were yeah, we want Rutherford here, but we want Tocchet here. Why don't you just then let Bruce go in the offseason, don't have him come back for that optional year, and then hire Tocchet then? Or
right.
That's one thing. Or if you're really committed to losing this season anyway, why do you need to bring Tocchet in right now? We can talk about Tocchet later because there's some stuff there as well, but it doesn't make any sense with the timing. But the interim thing would have been obvious. Even in the last 2 weeks, you could have done it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this organization has somehow gone worse from where it was last year.
Yeah.
How is it possible that we're back here again? And all the good faith that GM group and Rutherford brought in last year is now completely gone. That press conference that he gave was an absolute joke. And I mean, it's nice that he's super honest because it gives you something to talk about, but it's everything the Canucks don't want to Canucks fans don't want to hear. You look at the players in the room and you the reaction from last night in general, it looked like they lost a playoff series from the players staying on the ice for Boudreau at the end there.
Yeah.
And then you have Lazar saying it's one of the worst things he's ever gone through. How do you expect to bring players in? How do you expect players to want to stay? It's just it's so beyond just Boudreau. And you can talk about the fact that the Canucks haven't been good this year. I don't think it's Boudreau's fault. I think it's a roster construction fault, which most people will agree with. But sure, he hasn't in terms of a hockey performance perspective, he hasn't done his job in the sense that the team's not winning. And you can buy it from that point of view, sure. But something has to be done drastically. And it probably starts with ownership, and we all know it's not going to happen. But it's very, very, very frustrating.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and it's tough to want to tough to want like that. I'll probably take a few weeks off here. Like, I read one thing being like, I've never wanted Chicago to beat Vancouver so bad on Tuesday. It's like they're like active longtime fans are like now rooting against the organization in hopes that Tocchet doesn't come in and get good faith wins or whatever.
Right? And like again, I don't really have anything against Rick Tocchet. I don't think he's an amazing coach, but like everyone's gonna automatically hate him right now. And it's just like, yeah, we all basically want this team to lose now, which is really unhealthy. It's not nice. And like, Canucks fans for so many years, this is another rant, I'm sorry, but like we've always been treated like we're crap. And maybe I'm really like hypersensitive to this because of living in Alberta when the Canucks were good. Everyone wanted to shit talk Canucks fans and how annoying we were and how awful we were. The one like positive thing that I can take away from this whole situation is I think we've kind of proven that Canucks fans in general are pretty decent. The way that Boudreau was treated in these last few games was really nice to see. It was nice to give him the send-off, and like how united everyone is that this is wrong is also really nice.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I woke up very early these past 2 mornings to watch the Canucks because I was interested mainly in the fan reaction. I was like, okay, what's going to happen? I knew they were going to probably lose both games. I knew Boudreau was gone like everyone. But I wanted to see, what the city was. Beyond like today for me, last night for you, I don't know if I'm going to watch another game. Like for me right now, it's a very big inconvenience, and I probably will because of who I am, but I don't really want to.
Yeah.
And that's pretty big.
Totally.
But yeah, so the Canucks are in a dark period. And there's only, unfortunately, I think more kind of pain to come because now that Boudreau is gone, it's going to move full attention into the Horvat thing, which if we want to talk about for 2 seconds, because they've kind of released their asking price for Horvat now, and it's like 3 players, including a prospect or a good prospect. And that in itself is so disappointing, right? Like for me, I don't know, like why aren't you asking for at least 1 pick? If you know about how deep this draft is, and then if you talk about wanting to extend Kuzmenko, which we can go on a whole other thing about too, like it's just so mishandled. Like everything is mishandled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, if he's going to Carolina and Kotkaniemi is like the center he's coming back, like I'm throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
Like, personally, I have no interest in that.
Well, I was listening to the radio too the other day, and they were talking about like, oh, if it's Boston, like Brandon Carlo is going to be coming back, and he's like 26.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry, I just like I can't. At what point in time is it just cruel punishment to yourself to watch them and to support them?
I mean, silver lining, I think they're bottom 5 in the league, so higher draft lottery odds.
I mean, like that's for me right now. I think the only thing that could really get me back in would be if they got Bedard. Like if they got that first overall pick, I'd be like, okay, I'm interested again. But right now, like I'm not. And it just feels to me like this team is circling around the toilet bowl, basically. And the thing that's going to happen in the next couple of years is Pettersson is going to be like, hey, I don't think I really want to play for an organization that treats people like shit. And then he's going to leave.
Yeah.
Like that's where it's heading to me. And then you've really messed up. Like you've already messed up everything. But at that point in time, it's done.
Yeah.
So it's just super, super depressing. And like the fact that this has gotten so much coverage, not only in hockey, but like Forbes had an article about Boudreau. Like it's just the laughing stock of the league.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like even like especially after the send off last night, like that felt like it felt like a coach was retiring and it was his last game.
Right?
So like every other market was like posting and commenting about it and like this is insane about what's going on out there. And we're like, oh yeah, just another Canucks thing.
Yeah, and like as terms of like a locker room situation, they knew for ages that their coach was gone. They knew that they know their captain is getting traded. Like it's just so unhealthy. And yeah, I don't know. You run out of words.
I know. It's tough, and it was going to be tough to do this one today. But this is because he actually got fired finally today. Like this was the time to do it.
Yeah.
Don't know what to say. There's flashes of excitement. I like Kuzmenko. I hope they don't
I
give him.
like him. I just think they're stupid to keep him because the value that you can get for him on that contract at his age, I feel like you flip him. You know, if you really like him, maybe you circle back to him in the summer. But I think you just got to cut ties, and I think you got to bottom out. That's like personally I don't know.
I 100% agree, but the only thing that I'll throw in there that it doesn't affect my opinion. Like I say, I 100% agree is they've had a tough time in the last couple decades in the relationships with Russian players.
Sure.
And so I could see it being like, oh, well, we worked really hard to get him. He picked us over every other team, and now we're just going to flip him at the deadline when he specifically picked our city. Like,
Sure.
I could be kind of damaging to Russian recruits moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree with that for sure.
But I trade him, you know?
I think you just got to be totally heartless in this situation in terms of attachment. Like, and like I said, for myself personally, I feel like I've kind of been ruined as a Canucks fan right now. Like, I don't care. I don't think I care about any roster player. Like, if they, I mean, like, okay, even if they traded one of the big three, being like Pettersson, Hughes, or Demko, I actually don't think it would upset me that much right now, depending on what they get back. Obviously,
yeah. Demko would bum me out only because Martin and Delia have been so bad. But I mean, it's not their fault. It's the defense's fault more than theirs, I think. But
yeah, I seriously hope they shut down Demko for the season, though. I hope that they just let these two ride it out, only because, again, I feel like if Demko comes back, he's going to be able to cover up quite a lot of the warts, even though the beginning of the season wasn't great for him. But I think if you're truly like throwing the towel in on the season, you say, you know, take your rehab and we'll see you in September.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that bottom of the standings race is sure shaping up to be an interesting one.
But I mean, Montreal worries me because like Caulfield is done now for the year. Their roster looks like absolutely awful. It's basically an AHL roster, and they have a pretty like hard finish to the season.
And they also have Florida's unprotected pick.
But I think Florida will probably move out of at least lottery like level. Whether they make the playoffs or not, I don't know. But because you can only move up 10 spots now, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like Montreal scares me the most in terms of like bottoming out. I feel like, you know, yeah, like Chicago's been playing a little bit better. Anaheim's been playing a little bit better. They've won a couple games. Like Arizona's really bad. And Columbus is awful too. But I really hope we don't get a coaching bump. Yeah. And
hard to see it with the, like you say, roster construction as it is.
And I think if they move Bo too, like it'll be interesting to see. I kind of expect like he's gonna be here through the All-Star break, but you never know. Like if they move him, depending on what you're getting back, like okay, yeah, I guess you're moving Miller back to center. But it does leave a pretty big hole in terms of like power play and face-offs and all that. So we'll see.
Time will tell. Yeah, leading up to the trade deadline, it's going to be interesting to watch from a distance, from an arm's length, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Is there any other league news?
I mean, there is and there isn't, you know, like the Pacioretty thing was really disappointing.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It looked like, I think Friedman said it, but I thought this exact same thing. Like, it looked exactly like Kevin Durant came back in the NBA Finals against the Raptors when he had a Achilles injury, and then he just like no one was around him. He just took a step, and all of a sudden he was down holding his leg.
Yeah.
And as soon as Pacioretty do that, it was like his Achilles is done.
Yeah.
Like he just tore his Achilles again.
Yeah.
Might never play again.
That was really tough to watch.
Totally.
Yeah.
So sucks for them because he had 4 goals in 3 games, you know, like he was going to be some scoring for a team that already has a chance to win it all. So bummer for him.
Yeah, and I do feel like from a Canucks trade perspective, like I know you've touted them for a while as being like a Horvat destination, but I even wonder about like a Besser. If it's not Horvat going there, I could see maybe him ending up there or Kuzmenko if they decide to move him. But
Yeah, I can see Kuzmenko. I feel like I think they're gonna hold on to Brock for another year and
try to
like,
build up his trade value.
his 5-on-5 stats, like points wise, points per 60, 5-on-5 are actually pretty good.
He's been playing quite a lot better, but
Yeah.
I still think I don't know, it's the same thing. Like you got to move on at some point, and I mean, if you try to raise up his value, that's good. I will be interested if they're keeping him and they're trading Bo with what happens on that first power play unit, because you could kind of see him maybe sliding into like Bo's like bumper position there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And then, yeah. I honestly can't think of anything that's not Canucks. Well, I guess McDavid scored his 40th last night. He's on a crazy point pace again, but
it's tough to think league news when the biggest news has been we're a Canucks based thing and this is such a Canucks thing.
Yeah.
So there is probably little things that we'll catch up on them next time.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a really depressing and hopefully it gets a little bit worse.
Yeah.
But
hopefully sunnier days one day coming up.
Yeah.
Hopefully starting with Bedard. But
Yeah.
Canucks have never been that lucky. So
yeah. And I mean, you don't want to get your hopes up, but it does feel like almost like it would be like cosmic fate for dealing with this crap for so long. And like especially this season that, the local boy comes home kind of thing. But
and you never know, right? They trade Horvat, they trade Kuzmenko, they trade Shen. All of a sudden the roster is significantly weaker and they're a bottom 5 team already. So
yeah. My gut tells me still I think he probably ends up in Chicago just to really, like kill me off. But
I know. The one positive spin is it's been pointed out in the last whatever how many games they got. They're playing like Columbus a bunch and Chicago a bunch and Anaheim a bunch and Arizona a bunch, but those teams are all also playing Vancouver. So they could also get all the wins. It's not like a given that Vancouver is just going to beat these other shitty teams. They could all just walk over Vancouver.
Yeah. I really think that they're going to lose to Chicago. That's my gut feeling, but we'll see.
We will see. We'll try to arrange our time differences a little bit better moving forward, and we'll try to stay on top of this, and God knows we'll make it to episode 100 one day.
Woo!
All right. Well, I think that's all we're going to wrap here. Cool. So thanks for listening. Hockey Talk on the Rock, episode number 97.
Woo!